Buenos dias. We have here a 2006 Ram 2500 with a diesel engine. Customer states vehicle seems to take longer to shift into next gear at high speeds. No warning lights are on at this time. When attempting to pass on the highway is when the concern is noticed. Truck's got 211,000 on it. There's definitely a check engine light on. The first thing we do is pull codes. You can see it's got one code in the engine, one code in the transmission. We'll cycle through these here. So we have a fuel delivery error. Code is also stored in the transmission control module. Have some communication codes for the radio stored in multiple modules. Probably due to that. I'm not going to be too concerned with that right now. Another thing I noticed with the engine idling in park, notice there's no RPM displayed, and there's also the park and the drive display there are both lit up, which is interesting. I don't know if that's because there's just a transmission code stored, so that may just be the case. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna monitor our data while driving and see what we can see. We'll select fuel turbo data because I basically want to monitor fuel pressure while I'm driving. I've selected some relevant data PIDs. Hopefully you'll be able to see this while driving here. But basically what you want to look at is the fuel pressure set point, which is going to be your desired fuel pressure, and the fuel pressure sensor in PSI, which is going to be your actual. So here we go. So you can see lightly cruising down the road. Desired and actual pretty much match. We don't have very much engine load requested. And then from this stoplight, we're going to go ahead and do a full throttle stab, and we'll see what happens. There's pretty much wide open throttle right here. You can see the desired and actual do not match. The truck significantly lacks power. Basically describes a customer complaint. So we're going to want to go back to the shop and check our fuel delivery system. Remove the fuel filter. So we have removed the fuel filter and found it's pretty old, kind of sucked in a little bit. So we'll need to probably replace the fuel filter, and then we're going to check the transfer pump volume while we have this filter out. It's gonna kind of be hard to see, but there's also some sediment in the bottom of this filter housing. So we're gonna want to clean that out also. We're also going to be checking the output of the transfer pump, or low pressure fuel pump. According to what I found, spec should be 45 ounces in the 25 seconds that you can bump it. I don't know if you can see this, but I've removed where that blue clip is. That is the inlet from the fuel pump in the tank. So we're going to take that hose there, attach it to my tool, and we're going to get my 45 ounce calibrated scientific device and set it down here. Let's see how much fuel we can get out of this thing. Hold please. Okay, we've got our line hooked up down here. We will come and bump the engine and do not start it. When you bump the engine, the transfer pump should run for 25 seconds. It looks like we've only got, I don't know, maybe 35 ounces of fuel. We'll dump this out and run the test again and see what happens. We're gonna run this test again to see what happens. So at this point we have low volume from our in-tank transfer pump. Our fuel filter got in. And I sucked some of the fuel out of the filter housing to replace the filter and try and get some of the crud out of there. And you can see there's several chunks of things inside the fuel filter housing. So at this point, with our low transfer pump pressure and our debris inside here, I'm going to be inclined to want to drop the fuel tank and inspect our low side fuel pump. I'm suspecting a lot of trash in the tank, possibly restricting the inlet to that fuel pump, causing our low pressure. So I wanted to go ahead and drive it with just a new fuel filter in it, just to see what happened. We'll see if it still has low power or not. I got most of the sediment out of the fuel filter housing, so hopefully that won't cause us any issues. But we will see here momentarily. Let me fix this. Hold on a second. We'll see if just the fuel filter will at least fix our problem. See, that's a wide open throttle stab right there. You can see our desired and actual match. We'll do it a couple more times. We get clear some traffic area here. Here's another stab. Yeah, you can see that time again. Fuel desired and actual are matching, and the truck has power again. The complaints is no longer present. However, with the trash that was in the fuel filter housing and the low volume from the transfer pump, I'm still going to recommend putting a transfer pump in it. It should be the in-tank pump. So we'll go back to the shop. I also wanted to attempt to clear the codes to see if our brindle looked normal again, and it still is messed up. Still no RPM signal, no codes in the transmission or the engine computer. So, not real sure what the problem is with that. Customer wasn't really complaining of it, so I'm not going to concern myself with it either.